Hello, hello. Welcome to the daily check-in for Nano. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're getting some writing done. Um, hey, there's Rebecca. Hey everyone. Deb, hello. It's just the three of us, but that's okay. That's okay. I hope you're well. I hope things are going well for you today. I don't have any writing to I am literally have half of what I need to have right now. I'm still at around 7,000 words, but I'm going to be working on it this evening. So that's where I am. Wow, life intervened, but I want to get back on track because I really want to finish this. Really want to make a serious project. Rebecca, I finally made it. I have words. Yay! Yay! Oh, Deb has words. Oh, wait, let me. Oh, let me see. Hang on. Oh, put that there and then go in here, and I want to pull up the tracker. Okay. All right, I just wanted to, Catherine, thanks for a surprise. Oh, okay, I'm glad. Glad it was okay. All right. Put this here, put this there, so I can put your numbers in. Okay, so Rebecca has words. Yay! Okay, Deb, 336. Awesome. Thank you for writing. Today is the 10th. Over here. Okay, so all right. So far, I've got you down for 2,232, 2232. Deb, does that sound about right? Because it's more than you started the month with, so that's good. Oh, Rebecca has 954. Excellent. Where's Rebecca? Rebecca is at 954. Very cool. 1784 total. Excellent. KD 765. Plus, I'm using Scrivener as of this morning. You guys are amazing. KD is at 765. 765. Okay, and I've got to put myself down. Well, I'm at 0 so far today, but I'm hoping to fix that. I did have some words yesterday, so that's okay. Okay, let me see. Rebecca, I like your camera design today. Oh, the overlay, the flowers. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Hello, Boo Boo. You gonna come down? Oh no, he's fascinated with what's outside the window because it's getting dark and stormy. It's going to be a dark and stormy night. All right, you're allowed to just like, okay, that's it. I'm done here. I'm not listening to this. No, but it may very well be a dark and stormy night. Okay, 934, 765. Awesome. Hey, Sarah's here. Sorry, I had some connectivity issues. Oh, I hear you. Yes, great job, KD. Great job, Rebecca. Yes, Sarah made it. Yes, we just started. All right. Is Scrivener better than Word? It depends on what you want to do. I always end up back in Word just because I need to see. Scrivener is fantastic for organizing and being able to quickly move between chapters and put this here and put it's an amazing. Rebecca, actually, that was pretty cute, Sebastian. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. Scrivener is incredibly useful for organizing huge amounts of information, and a novel, which is going to be probably most novels are usually between 60 and 80,000 words. That's a pretty big document, so it can help you organize it. For me, I go back to Word because I shrink shrink all of the I shrink the font down, and I actually break it into 2 columns on the page so that I can fit a whole lot on the page. So my chapters, I only need a few pieces of paper for a chapter. It just helps me not feel overwhelmed. I don't know why. I'm weird. I'm very weird. So I always end up back in Word. But to each their own, whatever works for you. Seriously. Okay. Kat. Hey, Kat. Oh, it's so good to spend time with you guys. Sarah, perfect weather for writing. Katie, perfect night to write. Katie, it's a lot cheaper than Word. It's probably true. That's probably true. Yeah, I do the whole, is it 365? Microsoft 365. So I've got Excel as well, but whatever works for you. Google Docs is really good too. It really is. And you don't have to pay for that. So that's a good option. Deb, thanks for the Scrivener word explanation. I hope it helps. Trying to think what else. Does anyone have anything else? Has it been hard? Has it been easier to write? Is life getting in the way? Are you making progress? Katie, there's a discount for Scrivener at the NaNoWriMo website. Yes, under resources. There are some discount codes for different writing apps and whatnot. If you're look in the market and you're so inclined, it's a good place. Yeah, when I first bought Scrivener, way back when, yeah, I used the discount code that was on the NaNoWriMo site. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. But Katie got it. Thank you, Katie. Okay. And I personally, I'm trying to spin too many plates. Deb, life is always in the way, but this group is making it easier. That's true. That's true. Now, Rebecca, it's so much easier to write since I'm not worrying over the election. I totally get that. I totally get that. Whew. Yeah, it's so nice to be able to put my mind elsewhere and just let it stay there. Just focus on what I need to do. Let's see here. Catherine, hey, I'm finding it really hard to force myself. I wish I could summarize 36 soccer games per season without having to read through them all in the newspapers. That sounds brutal. That sounds absolutely brutal. But hey, you'll be the first of us to not have a search history on our computer that could, in and of itself, potentially put us all in jail, which, like most writers. How can you kill someone with a giant icicle? Can you? How much poison does it take? Excuse me, Sebastian. Yeah, could you please explain your search history here on Google? Yep, I can try. Katie, life got in the way yesterday. I was forced to take a pain pill. Oh, I hate narcotics. I slept for 14 hours. Oh, I'm glad you got some rest. But I hate that you were in pain. I hate that. Catherine, British newspaper writers of the early 1900s are big fans of the running sentences. Yeah, you're supposed to be running down the field, not running a sentence for. See, they're showing they were showing their physical prowess. I can keep typing, keep typing, keep typing, keep typing, keep typing, keep typing, keep typing. Period. Nailed it. Score. Next sentence. Oh, well. Actually, speaking of physical strength, the thing I wanted to go over today, my little mini writing lesson. If anyone who has seen all of the, I think it's the Patreon live streams for the other channel. We did, we do these patron only live streams once a month, and we end up talking about everything in the universe. But there was one thing I wanted to tell you the story again. But you probably haven't heard it, but maybe you have. But today I have things to I've got show and tell, because I don't just have show and tell. I have all kind of show and tell. Okay, so this is what. Yes, Katie, I hope you do feel better. Oh, good. All right, so I'm going to pretend you haven't heard this, and if you have, I'm sorry. I'd like to introduce you to one of my writing heroes. That's cute, Rebecca. David Balducci said he was on the phone on a DC to New York City train, noticed people near him move away when he and a poison expert were discussing a poison that wouldn't leave traces in the blood. Yeah. All right. Let me introduce you to one of my writing heroes, a man named Walter Gibson. In fact, his picture's probably in here, in one of these. Walter Gibson was a writer. No, that's not him. That's the author. He is the man who okay, so let me back up. They used to have those radio programs. Hello, dear. You all right? Oh, here you go. Here you go. Go on. Okay. Sorry. You know how they used to, who knows, the shadow knows exactly. They used to have these radio programs back in the day. And my mother talks about when she was a child, sitting on the floor. No, another artist. She'd sit on the floor and listen to The Shadow and all these other programs that they would run in the evenings, because before there was television. So I could have sworn there was a picture of him. Huh. Maybe it's at the end of one of them. Anyway, sorry, I thought I'd be able to find that quickly. Well, there was some show, and it was, I don't know how it came about. It was like a soap opera, or it was a commercial, or it was something, but they created this kind of on the fly, created this voice that it was kind of, it was both menacing, but it was also kind of like protective in a way somehow. And basically one of the publishing houses in New York City called Street and Smith basically went to one of their regular writers, a man named Walter Gibson, and they said, look, would you be interested in writing some stories? Oh, have a good evening, Rebecca. Could you write, a 40,000 word novella? I mean, well, they call it a full length story or full length novel, but it was 40,000 words. Could you write a 40,000 word about this voice? And so Walter Gibson created The Shadow, as in, who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows. Ha 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 ha. That shadow. And they put it in one of their magazines because, of course, these magazines were wildly popular. There was everybody read. It was the Depression was going on. Nobody had a television, so people read, and they started reading the pulps. Basically, it was cheap entertainment, is what it was. Sometimes salacious. Some of the writers who are big now, including Stephen King, Dean Koontz, and others, they actually cut their writing teeth on the equivalent pulp paperbacks of the 60s and 70s. So, so they put it in one of their, Street and Smith put it in one of their magazines, and it was really successful. Matter of fact, it turned out that there were people writing it, and it was so successful. I can't remember if they included a couple more, but at some point they decided it was so successful and people liked it so much that they wanted to come out with the Shadow magazine, make it its own thing. And it would contain 2 full-length shadow stories in every issue. And it would be monthly. And they said to Walter Gibson, hey, we're going to hire another writer, and the 2 of you can work on these stories. And the Depression was on. Walter Gibson, he was already a writer. He knew a lot of magicians. He wrote a biography of Houdini, who he spent quite a lot of time with, and had just written a lot. He'd written a lot of all different kinds of things. And it was actually all of his knowledge of magic that helped with some of the ideas for the shadow, the sleight of hand, the kind of mental manipulation that went along with magic and magic shows and all of this kind of thing. But the Depression was on. It was the early Depression. And Walter Gibson, because they were paid by the word, Walter Gibson knew that if they brought another writer on, that not only was his income going to be, he wasn't going, there's half of that income he'd have to leave on the table, but they could even bring on more writers after that. So he said to them, don't worry, I got it. And they said 2 40,000-word novels every month. And Gibson said, I got it. All right. On one of those metal typewriters that you could kill someone by dropping it out of a window on somebody's head. They're like cast iron, like anvils. Hello, Allison. Hello. So he went home, and after, I'm sure, his wife said, have you lost your mind? What he ultimately ended up doing was he got 5 typewriters, and he set them up in different places in his house. And he had huge stacks of paper beside each one for each project he was working on. And he would sit down and he would start and he would work on a story. And he'd work on that as far as he could, and he'd go and work on the next story and to work on the next story. He started out by writing out an outline, a basic kind of outline that he would give to his editor at Street and Smith, and it would be approved. So then he'd bring it back and he would take that simple outline and he would just write it all out. He published so many of these. So it was 2 of these every single month. Month after 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 month. He got to the point where quite often, when he wasn't writing, he'd have to wrap his hands in gauze because his hands hurt so badly. And I'm sure I don't know this for a fact, but I imagine his wife would help him sometimes because it just his hands. Um, so he wrote single drafts. He didn't have time to do much editing. The editors themselves at the magazine, they did minor editing, but they had stacks of stuff to do themselves. So yeah, this is not on an electric typewriter. This is not even on something particularly portable. Although there is a story about him going to a party one night and he had a deadline the next day, or he had goals he had to meet. And so he was friendly for a while, and then he sat his typewriter up in the corner and he just kept writing. And so they made a party thing out of it, back in the 30s, where when he finished a page, he'd hand it off and they'd like read it to themselves and talk about it. And he like became the entertainment for the party. They'd write another page, He ended up in the Guinness Book of World Records for publishing, not writing, not even writing, publishing 1.1 million words in a year. Hello, Lynott. 1.1 million words published in a year, written on heavy, old manual typewriters. Corona. The Corona typewriter company, they actually created an ad showing him. He wrote it. The name was Maxwell Grant. That was a name it was written under, but his name was Walter Gibson, and he is one of my heroes. I joke about how he is the patron saint of getting the writing done. It is insane. But if you're like, you know what, I need to write. Who would be the patron saint of writing? Just ask Walter Gibson. I'm sure he'd love to help you. I'm sure he would. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys because a number of years ago, what year was this? Yeah, this was back around 2008. The Shadow magazine, someone was able to go find Nostalgia Ventures. Excuse me. Published by Sanctum Productions for Nostalgia Ventures Incorporated in California. This was just 2008. Yeah, first printing June 2008. They got hold of some of the old Shadow magazines and they actually reprinted some of the originals. So it isn't even just the stories, but you can see what it actually looked like on the page because there was artwork involved as well that hire these artists to illustrate. So I'm just like, I don't know, here's the City of Crime. I mean, that was roughly what that was the art for the cover, the shadow. And let's see here, twice a month. Oh no, these came out twice a month. My mistake. And no, I'm getting a bit confused. The upshot was he had to write 2 of these a month. I guess it wasn't 2 in 1. It was every 2 weeks I'd bring out one. My mistake. But he still had to do all that writing. Doesn't matter when they publish it. He had to get the writing done. Katie, my father had a Royal manual typewriter. Oh, whew, man, deadly. So anyway, obviously their print of beginning of it was, something modern they did, and there's an interview with the artist. But All right, so what it looked like, the insides of these magazines, was there's this shadow right here, looks like, and then this is, I guess, some kind of bad guy. City of Crime. And you can see how it was laid out, because it was laid out in these columns like this, which maybe coincidentally, maybe not, is how I lay my writing out when I'm working on it. It just makes it easier for me to go over things quickly. I'm trying to find, because they keep I'm trying to look in the camera. They keep the illustrations in. Where's an illustration? Oh, this was one of the early ones. Okay, here's the shadow knocking someone out, and or here's the shadow, and there's a bad guy on the floor by a gun. So, and this is like chapter 14 on the scene of the crime. It starts right here. So let me see if I can get to the main image. Yeah, there's a lot of the shadow knocking people down when it comes to the illustrations. Now he's knocking someone down on a staircase. He knocks someone down in the living room. Deb, my first typing lessons were on a Royal Manual. Heavy iron, very clacky. That's a great word for it too. Clacky. Yes. Okay, so then you get through the first one, because I'm still flipping. I'm still on the first one. Still first. Oh, now we have, she's got a gun. I wonder if that is Margot Lane. His companion, Margot Lane. Okay, okay, and then, whoo, it's like a Doctor Who episode. Shadow over Alcatraz. Oh dear. So that whole thing that I just took the time that I was flipping through to here, the end, all of that, a month. No, 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. So, yeah, and changing the ribbon, yeah. Exactly. So, there is one thing, as far as the writing itself goes, there's one thing Walter Gibson did that it's like, but considering what he accomplished, I'll let it slide. But he does the inanimate objects sometimes. Drives me crazy. Did I is that something I highlighted? Oh, well, anyway, you get the, guns appearing on their own feet, walking down yeah, anyway, so I don't have it, apparently. I thought I had something highlighted, but I don't. But the point is that it had the double ink ribbon, black and red. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. But if you put aside the, oh dear heavens, Walter Gibson himself, from everything I've been able to find out about him, he himself was not racist. Entertainment culture at the time was, So, but from everyone, absolutely everyone I've ever seen who met him, said that he was one of the sweetest men and was just welcoming to all, and he was a good guy. But yeah, some of these are, it was a different time. So that I'm really not happy about, and I have trouble letting that slide. But you do get the trap floor dropping down, but the shadow catches himself, that sort of thing. Deb, I love animate inanimates. Yeah, but he didn't do the drawings, but he wrote the stories. And like I said, this is just some of them. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So what's the quality like? That's one of the things I always wanted. I don't know. The Third Shadow. Some of these I haven't read in so long, I don't remember them. Yeah, Deb, racism in the past is very sad. Yeah. And wrong. Wrong. Completely wrong. But let's see. It's some of these. I honestly, it's been so long since I read them. I don't remember them that well. But like, I don't know. I just grabbed this one, "The Shadow" by Maxwell Grant. Has the shadow deserted law for crime? Story called "The Third Shadow." All right, let's flip over to. Oh no, that's the Cobra. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna read you a couple of paragraphs because I just, I was curious. I imagine you're curious. What was the quality of the writing like, considering how fast he was churning this stuff out, right? All right, chapter 1 of The Cobra. And yes, it kind of looks like that guy has a cobra mask over his head or something. Graphics are amazing. All right. Book-length novel complete in this issue. Chapter 1, The Crime Trial. Foggy darkness swirled beneath the superstructure of the East Side Elevated. Dim lights glowing through the murk showed the dingy fronts of dilapidated buildings. Shifty, skulking figures shambled along the street. A bluecoat, twirling his club, watched them idly from the corner, then resumed his beat. This was a bad spot on the fringe of the underworld. The officers who patrolled this section of Manhattan were chosen members of the force, always on the lookout for the paths of crooks. They kept a wary check of sullen faces and sly, stoop-shouldered prowlers. Less than 1 minute after the patrolman had continued on his beat, a man stepped forward from the cover of the elevated steps. Well-dressed, but inconspicuous in his dark suit, he was of better appearance than the usual denizens of this district. Like the bluecoat, he watched with wary eye. A taxicab rolled slowly by. The man by the steps noted it with a side... The man by the steps... Oh, steps. Okay. Noted it with a sidelong glance. He saw a gray-haired man of middle age peering keenly from the window, as though engaged in a study of the district. The cab rolled on. The man by the steps lighted a cigarette. Lots of alliteration, yes. The flicker of the match revealed his face. It was a hardened countenance with curling, ugly lips. A long scar showed from chin to cheek. That scar was buried by the hand that held the match. As he flicked the match away, the man by the elevated steps used his other hand to draw the collar of his coat across the telltale scar. His action showed further effort to hide the mark. With head hunched slightly to the side, the man squinted up and down the street, then moved along the curb with an easy, swinging gait. There was method in his wariness. This man was known in the underworld. Deke Hundell, leader of the toughest hold-up crew in Manhattan, was a person whom any lurker in the Badlands could have spotted instantly by his familiar scar. The strolling patrolman had missed an opportunity tonight. Standing openly at the corner, he had been spotted by Deke Hundell. So anyway, it goes on. So there's something happens, and there's a break, and so I'm just going to this next section. It's been a long time since I read this. Hey, Allison! Awesome. I'll put those numbers in just a minute. That is well done. Well done. Okay. Blackness remained, but in the blackness glowed two spots that shone like coals of fire. Metamorphosing from the mist, they showed as living eyes poised in an inky background. Then blackness moved. A tall, uncanny shape stepped forward from the elevated post. The owner of those glistening eyes had manifested himself, a spectral being clad entirely in black, a form shrouded by the folds of a sable-hued cloak, above the eyes the brim of a dark slouch hat. So anyway, a creature of the darkness, a phantom being whose guise of black rendered him invisible to the sharpest eyes, the shadow was on the trail of impending crime. All right, so, Lynott, well done, well done, well done. Excellent. All right, so I'm not saying it's Shakespeare. But it's very readable. The telephone rang. Renwood answered it to hear Corbel on the wire. And then, anyway, so this is the shadow. All right, and I wanted to share this, not because they're perfect, but because it's impressive, and this is just a fraction of what he created, and he just kept creating. I mean, I don't even understand how he thought of all of the villains. And then they started taking some of them and turning them into the radio play, the radio show. So it just, and then that fed on interest in more shadow stuff. And he spent most of his life writing this stuff. It kind of fell out of favor in the 40s, but then in the 60s there was like a revival, and he wrote whole new stories and got them published. So there's a lot of talk in writing communities today about people who write a lot, that either one, it's garbage, you can't write that fast and it'd be good, or you get, well, that's, that person's extraordinary or whatever, because everybody has their own way of expressing themselves creatively. But sometimes, like when there's a depression on and you have an opportunity to create something, and that you've created, you can stay with it and keep creating, and you can keep your house, and you can, feed yourself and your wife, and you do what you have to do. And I'll tell you, for the Great Depression, this was not a bad gig, but this was not an easy gig either. So I always try to remember that and try to push myself a little bit more, even though it doesn't seem like it sometimes. But he got it done. And the more he created, the more ideas he had. And he obviously had an inner editor, because, I mean, there's some good vocabulary in there. It's not simple-minded stuff. But it is amazing what so many of these writers were able to do back in the day. And now we have dictation, and we have the ability to to publish whatever we want. I mean, unless it's something really heinous, which something so heinous, I doubt. I no, none of you are ever going to write those kinds of heinous things. I'm not going to. Other than that, we can write it. We can publish anything we want. In a sense, Amazon Kindle, KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, in a sense, became the new pulp. So on the one hand, it's you can put stuff out and you can get it going and you can create a fan base but you do have to write like a pulp writer in that you have to keep putting out material. And a lot of it falls on you because you are your own publisher. So there are a number of ebooks that I've read that talk about kind of how the pulp writers did it. And basically there's a lot of basic outlining and then absolutely grueling park rear end in chair. And inner editor go away. So, and heck, if nothing else, it's easier to edit something if it exists rather than if you're like, I'd never release my first draft. Well, you don't have to, but it's something to keep in mind if you need to create first drafts. So, Katie, especially if you go for Kindle Unlimited and KDP. Yeah. All right. Amazing writing going on here. Hang on. Let me just a second. Let me look. Okay, Allison, 2,319 words. 23194. Allison. Wow. Okay, Allison on the right place. 2,319. Very cool. Can I put you in, according to this, it puts you at 9,228. Impressive. Lynette got 500 last night. Yay. Okay, here, let me go down to L. Lynette. Okay, and then 10th. Last night was the 9th. 500. Okay, and that brings your total up to 1,850. 1,850 more words than you had before. Lynette, I know I'm not going to reach 50,000 this month, and I'm okay with it. Progress is progress. If you can actually win this, wow. But if you've written anything this month, you've made progress. And there are so many months that go by where, maybe we don't. I know there have been months where I end up working so hard on the other channel, or I end up working on this or that. And I look up and it's been weeks or a month since I've even picked up my manuscript. And that's no bueno. Oh, okay. Catherine, I'm on 7273. Oh, 7273. Because you were at, hang on. Seven. I'll check. I've got it written down. I know you were at, it was like 6,400 or something. I'll look it up when I get a second and I can figure out where my notebook is. Sorry, things are a little discombobulated, but I will look it up. So you're making progress. So many, you're amazing. Look at you making progress in the middle of this chaotic month. You're getting your Walter Gibson on and getting those words in. Katie, the main reason I'm doing this is for the support and to meet new writers. I also had a bad case of writer's block. I understand. Oh, it happens. All right. Well, it's about 10 to 5 now. So I am probably going to call for tonight, but I am going to be doing some writing this evening, and then we'll check in tomorrow. So I'm here every day of the month, and we can do this. We can do this. And well done. Deb saying, good for you, unblocking Katie. Yes. We can do this. We can do this. All right. Is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything I can do to help you? Because I want to help. Just let me know. If nothing else, you can put it in the comments below. I have been going through the comments. I don't always get to them the same day, but I have been looking at the comments. Okay, Katie, see you all tomorrow. Deb, thank you, Sebastian. Well, thank you. Thank you, guys. You're helping me a lot. You really are. All right. So keep writing. Keep writing. All right. And we'll talk tomorrow. You can do it. You can do it.